तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं
सहगणरघुनाथं
साद्वैतं साद्वैतं
हरिसंकीर्तं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं
श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च
हे
कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते
नमोस्तुते
तप्त काञ्चन
गौरंगी
राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी
देवी
वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि
प्रणमामि
हरिप्रिये
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे All together. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhakti uttama sloke bhaktir bhavati naistike Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's do a quick revision up to where we are. So we are in the chapter 1.7, the son of Drona punished. You can remove the screen. So it starts with, because this question is related to about Parikshit Maharaj's birth activities and and why did he renunciate everything. So Sutta Goswami starts from the end of Kurukshetra war, where Asvatthama is killing the 5 Pandavas. Ultimately, it ends up he killing the 5 Upa Pandavas, the 5 sons of Draupadi. And then he thought that will be pleasing to Duryodhana, but actually it was a displeasure to him. So actually he died in a pain of what Bhima did to him. So then the scene comes back to the camp of Pandavas, where Draupadi hears the distressing news, and then she wails and then she cries. And Arjuna takes a vow now that he is going to bring the head of Asvathama and put it before Draupadi, so that after the funeral of the children are done, she will take bath and dance over the head. So that's the vow he made. And then he, along with Krishna, uh, trying to chase Ashwatthama. So Ashwatthama is seeing both of them coming. In fact, it's also said Bhima was also trying to chase him in other direction. So Ashwatthama was so frightened. So what did he do? He released the Brahmashira or the Brahmahasta. Brahmashira is something more advanced than Brahmastra. So he released it. But unfortunately, he released it. He did not know how to retrieve such weapon. Then Arjuna seeing this, the glare of the heat of the Brahmashira, so he was so fearful. He also felt, what's happening. So then Krishna tells him, this is nothing but the Brahmahastra which has been released by Ashwatthama. So what you have to do is, so he says the cause and solution. So the solution is you release your Brahmahastra and try to retract both of them. So then Arjuna's prayers have been told. Then Krishna says this solution, and Arjuna releases this Brahmastra and retracts it. Not only retracting that, he also arrested the Ashwatthama and bound him by ropes. So that's where we ended, right? So he arrested Ashwatthama. So today let's go to 35th verse. So 35 to 38, sorry, 35 to 58 end till the end of the chapter. What is happening? So starts with arguments regarding whether to kill Ashwatthama or what is the punishment to be given to him. All right. Now you can share, Prabhu, 35. Maybe you can only start.
Hare Krishna. Mainam Partash Mainam Partash Hasi
Partha Arahasi
Partha
Tatrum.
Hara Partha Arhasi Tratum Brahma Bandhum Imam Jahi Yo Asav Anagasa Supatan Avadhin Isi Balakan. Lord Sri Krishna said, O Arjuna, you should not show mercy by releasing the relative of Brahma Bandhu, for he has killed innocent boy in their sleep. The word Brahma Bandhu is significant. A person who happens to take birth in the family of Brahmana, but is not qualified to be called a Brahmana, is addressed as a relative of Brahmana, not as a Brahmana. The son of a high court judge is not virtually a high court judge, but there is no harm in addressing a high court judge son as a relative of honorable justice. Therefore, as by birth only one does not become high court judge, so also one does not become a Brahmana simply by birthright, but by acquiring the necessary qualification of a Brahmana. As the high court judgeship is a post for a qualified man, is also the post of a Brahmana is attainable by qualification only. The Shastras enjoins that if good qualifications are seen in a person born in a family other than that of Brahmana, the qualified man has to be accepted as a Brahmana. And similarly, if a person born in the family of a Brahmana is void of Brahmanical qualification, then he must be treated as a non-Brahmana, or in better terms, a relative of Brahmana. Lord Sri Krishna, the supreme authority of all religious principles, the Vedas, has personally pointed out these differences, and he is about to explain the reason for this in the following slokas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So yeah. So it's talking about, so after arresting, now Lord Krishna is speaking. So he's saying to Arjuna, don't show any mercy to this Brahmana, relative of Brahmana. So the word used is
Relative.
Brahma Bandhu in the verse. Just go to the verse. Yeah, Brahma Bandhu. So Brahma has different meaning. So here it means the Brahmana. So Brahma Bandhu Imam Jadi. So kill him. So he's saying he has killed innocent boys in sleep, so don't show mercy onto him. So Prabhupada highlights on the word Brahma Bandhu is significant. Even though he's born in the family of Brahmana, he's not called as a Brahmana. He's not addressed. He has. So which verse in Bhagavad Gita talks about this? I think Bhupesh Prabhu had this question earlier, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, remember. So here clearly Krishna himself says he's a Brahma Bandhu because he is not shown the character of a Brahmana.
Yep.
So here Prabhupada gives an analogy of a high court judge. So high court judge, but there is no harm in addressing high court judge son as the relative of a justice. We cannot call him as a judge, right? His son. He may be a son of a justice. So therefore, as by birth only one does not become a high court judge, so also one does not become a Brahmana simply by birthright, but by acquiring the necessary qualification of a Brahmana. Okay, one of the homework I will give, what is the verse in Bhagavad Gita talks about it. Anyone can tell now or take it as a homework. All right, let's go to the next verse. I want to finish this chapter today. Okay, so here, one of the thing is, the spiritual insight of this verse is the birth alone does not grant the certificate status. It's the qualification, the behavior, the conduct, and how he follows the dharma. So these all depends on what varna and ashram they belong to. All right. Okay. Who wants to read the next verse?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, bro.
Mattam matam suktam balam striyam jadam prapanam virtham bhitam nadipuam hanti dharmavita. Can you scroll down? Translation: a person who knows the principle of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. Nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. An enemy who does not resist is never killed by a warrior who knows the principles of religion. Formerly, battles were fought on the principles of religion and not for the sake of sense gratification. If the enemy happened to be intoxicated, asleep, etc., as above mentioned, he was never to be killed. These are some of the codes of religious war. Formerly, war was never declared by the whims of selfish political leaders. It was carried out on religious principles free from all vices. Violence carried out on religious principle is far superior to so-called non-violence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So this is another important verse which is trying to meant what is dharma, particularly what is dharma in a war. So this person has violated the dharma in the war. So the principles of the religious war, the person who's actually Asvatthama is actually equivalent to a commander in chief, right? Finally. So, but he should be well versed in particularly the dharma, not to kill people when these 10 conditions are mentioned here. So what are the 10 conditions?
Uh,
Careless, intoxicated,
Yeah, mattam. So it's a very nice words in Sanskrit here, with very rhyming words here. Mattam. Mattam means,
Fearless.
yeah, Prabhupada translates as careless. So it also means it's intoxicated. Someone is intoxicated with liquor, So that's why they say even in today, if you feel someone is very intoxicated and full of drunkard person, what is the use of going and hitting him? It doesn't show any bravery, right? Because he's already lost his mind. And Paramattam is more intoxicated. Yeah, means he's very inattentive in what he is doing. And unmattam means crazy person. So Prabhupada, I mean, in the translation, careless, intoxicated, insane. And then suptam means asleep. And balam means boys. So these were small boys. Striyam means women. And jadam being foolish person. Right. And then prapannam, one who has surrendered to you, and then you cannot kill him. Then viratam, one who has lost his chariot, particularly in a war situation. Beatam, one is full of bhaya, fear, afraid. So such condition, if the enemies are there, as per the religious principle, one and does not kill even though he is an enemy. So Krishna highlights these principles, the dharmic principles here. So key insight is Krishna instructs Arjuna to act not from revenge but based on scriptures. So he is giving what reasons, what scriptures are saying. So, all right, next go to the next one. So even though Krishna is a Swayam Bhagavan, but he still quotes the dharmic principles in the scriptures. Yeah. Yeah, Bhupesh Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Swapranan yah para praneha prapushnati agrina kalaha tadvadhastasya hi ashrayo yadoshadhyati adha puman. Translation: A cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being, otherwise he will go down by his own actions. Purport: A life for a life is just a punishment for a person who cruelty and shamelessly lives at the cost of another's life. Political morality is to punish a person by death sentence in order to save a cruel person from going to hell. That a murderer is condemned to a death sentence by the state is good for the culprit because in his next life he will not have to suffer for his act of murder. Such a death sentence for the murderer is the lowest possible punishment offered to him and it is said in the Smriti Shastras that men who are punished by the king on the principle of a life for a life are purified of all their sins, so much so that they may be eligible for being promoted to the planets of heaven. According to Manu, the great author of civic codes and religious principles, even the killer of an animal is to be considered a murderer because animal food is never meant for the civilized man whose prime duty is to prepare himself for going back to Godhead. He says that in the act of killing an animal, there is a regular conspiracy by the party of sinners, and all of them are liable to be punished as murderer, exactly like a party of conspirators who kill the human being combinedly. He who gives permission, he kills the animal. He who sells the slaughtered animal, he who cooks the animal, he who administers distribution of the foodstuff, and at last he who eats such cooked animal food are all murderers, and all of them are liable to be punished by the laws of nature. No one can create a living being despite all advancement of material science, and therefore no one has the right to kill a living being by one's independent whims for the animal eaters. The scriptures have sanctioned restricted animal sacrifices only, and such sanctions are there just to restrict the opening of slaughterhouses and not to encourage animal killing. The procedure under which animal sacrifice is allowed in the scriptures is good both for the animal sacrificed and the animal eaters. It is good for the animal in the sense that the sacrificed animal is at once promoted to the human form of life after being sacrificed at the altar, and the animal eater is saved from the grosser types of sins, eating meat supplied by organized slaughterhouses, which are ghastly places for breeding all kinds of material afflictions to society, country, and the people in general. The material world is itself a place always full of anxieties, and by encouraging animal slaughter, the world atmosphere becomes polluted more and more by war, pestilence, famine, and many other unwanted calamities. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. So this verse is talking about the principle. It says a cruel person who lives at the expense of others deserves to be killed for his own good. So that's the principle here. He as a sinner has to take some punishment. So otherwise he may suffer more in the future. So that's the principle here. So the punishment is mean of preventing him for the person, further harm and ensuring justice generally. So that's what is highlighted here. So even in Smriti, it is said, a person who is committing a sin, who has to be punished, he cannot go freed from that sin. So if he is punished, it is said he might go to the heaven. If it is not punished, he is actually going to the hell. So that's the thing. The four benefits of being punished is, prevents the person from going to hell immediately, help the culprit avoid, whoever culprit not to get future sufferings. It's a act of justice and frees the person from the sin. Potentially, it can elevate him to higher planets by taking the punishment. All right, this is even applicable. Prabhupada in the purport highlights even applicable if someone is killing the animal. So, animal killer also comes under the punishment. So it's not just you're saying you're the killer, but if you're eating animal meat, also you are part of the process. So that's what Prabhupada says that who kills the animal, he who sells the slaughter animal, he who cooks the animal, he who administers distribution of foodstuffs, and he who eats, right? So some may say I am not killing, but I am only purchasing and cooking. Some may say I am not even cooking, I only have it in the restaurants. So whatever it is, so the chain of reaction is always be there. All right, let's go to the next verse. I'm going to go a little fast with the purports also because we are still in the eighth chapter. There are still another 12 chapters to go in this canto. We have to finish. I want to finish it within this year, that too before November. Let's see. Okay, who wants to read the verse? Jai Dharma Prabhu. I saw him joining. Okay, he left, I think. Anyone, Radharaman Prabhu or Nitikati Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Pratishutam cha bhavata pancale shinavato mama aharishe shir satyayase manini putraha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Furthermore, I have personally heard you promise Draupadi that you would bring forth the head of the killer of her sons. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So this is all Krishna speaking. Krishna is saying that, the punishment you have to give to him, and further you have promised the Draupadi, you will get the head of your killer of the son. Next one. Ritu Mataji. You want to try?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Tad asyo vadyatam papam atayahe atma bandhuha Bharatuscha vipriye vira kritvana kulpashanha. Translation: This man is an assassin and murderer of your own family members. Not only that, but he has also dissatisfied his master. He is but the burnt remnants of his family. Kill him immediately. Purport: The son of Dronacharya is condemned here as the burnt remnants of his family. The good name of Dronacharya was very much respected. Although he joined the enemy camp, the Pandavas held him always in respect, and Arjuna saluted him before beginning the fight. There was nothing wrong in that way, but the son of Dronacharya degraded himself by committing acts which are never done by Divijas or twice born higher caste. Twice
Ash-
born Asvathama, the son of Dronacharya, committed murder by killing the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi, by which he dissatisfied his master Duryodhana, who never approved of the heinous act of killing the 5 sleeping sons of Pandavas. This means that Ashwathama became an assaulter of Arjuna's own family members, and thus he was liable to be punished by him. In the Shastras, he who attacks without notice or kills from behind or sets fire to another's house or kidnaps one's wife is condemned to death. Krishna reminded Arjuna of these facts so that he might take notice of them and do the needful. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Krishna. So this was talking about Asvathama being a murderer of a family. Not only being murderer, he murdered for on behalf of Duryodhana, and even he was displeased. That's what Prabhupada highlights in the purport. Asvathama, the murderer of Arjuna's family, has dissatisfied his master and is morally corrupt. So now Krishna is saying there is a reason for Arjuna to act. So immediate action is necessary. Basically why he has to act to uphold the dharma and to prevent further harm for even to the culprit, Ashwathama. Let's go to the next verse. Who wants to read? Anyone wants to read? Put up their hand, or else I go to Vinay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Suta Uvacha Evam Sata Dharmam Partah Krishnena Chodita Naichad Dantum Guru Sutam Yat Yapi Atmahanam Mahan. Translation Suta Goswami said, although Krishna, who was examining Arjuna in religion, encouraged Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya, Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him, although Asvathama was a heinous murderer of Arjuna family members. Purport. Arjuna was a great soul, undoubtedly, which is proved here also. He is encouraged herein personally by the Lord to kill the son of Drona, but Arjuna considered that the son of his great teacher should be spared, for he happens to be son of Dronacharya, even though he is an unworthy son, having done all sorts of heinous acts whimsically for no one's benefit. Lord Sri Krishna encouraged Arjuna outwardly just to test Arjuna's sense of duty. It is not that Arjuna was incomplete in the sense of his duty, nor was Lord Sri Krishna unaware of Arjuna's sense of duty, but Lord Krishna puts to the test many of his true devotees just to magnify the sense of duty. The gopis were put to such test as well. Prahlad Maharaj also was put to such a test. All pure devotees come out successful in a respective test by the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Now this verse is Sutta Goswami speaking. Now, previously, the next previous verse, previous 4 verses, Krishna highlighted, to Arjuna, the kind of punishment needs to be given to this person. So first he says, the first was what we saw is he's saying he is a Brahma Bandhu. So he's a relative, he is not a Brahmana. So generally it is said a Brahmana shouldn't be killed. So that's the reason there Krishna highlights that he is, even though he is a son of Dronacharya who's a Brahmana, but he did not conduct himself like a Brahmana. So he calls himself as a Brahma Bandhu. And then Krishna highlights who all violates the war. So what is the kind of violations? So 10 violations he talks about. So we saw that Mattam, Paramattam, Unmattam, and 10 reasons Krishna gives there. So highlighting to Arjuna that you have to follow dharmic reason to punish this guy. And then he said he is a wretched person, he is a cruel person, he at the cost of killing others, he wanted to please his masters. So, then it is not that unless you punish him, his future also is better. If you punish him now, at least he may go to higher level, or else he will be suffering in the hell. And then he says that he is a murderer. So you have to take action. So Krishna leaves that. Now, Sutta Goswami said, although Krishna is, telling to Arjuna, encouraging Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya, Arjuna immediately did not kill him. Despite Krishna's encouragement, he did not like the idea of killing, even though Asvatthama is a murderer, erroneous murderer. So Prabhupada highlights that is basically Krishna is trying to test Arjuna. So what dharmic action you're going to do? All right. So that's the reason. So in light is Krishna, Prabhupada also highlights the kind of test he has put to many others like Prahlad Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, and even to gopis. Right. So like gopis, they left their family. As per normal dharma, anyone have to serve their husband. Now it is said the gopis came out of the house of their family and then they were involved in with Rasa Leela with Krishna. So these were all the tests he has put. So here he is putting Arjuna into test. So we are also put many times in test. So life presents real exam, not theoretical ones. So scriptures, provision. So which we have to follow. So and practically apply them in which situation. That's the point here. Yes, let's go to the next verse, 41. Jai Dharma Prabhu.
Jai Krishna. अतोपेत्या स्वाशिबिरं गोविन्द प्रियसारथिः न्यावेदयत्तं प्रियायै शोचन्त्या आत्मजान् हतान्. Translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. After reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and charioteer Sri Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife, who was lamenting for her murdered sons. Purport. The transcendental relationship of Arjuna with Krishna is of the dearmost friendship. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord himself has claimed Arjuna as his dearmost friend. Every living being is thus related with the Supreme Lord by some sort of affectionate relationship, either as servant or as friend or as a parent or as an object of conjugal love. Everyone thus can enjoy the company of the Lord in the spiritual realm if he at all desires and sincerely tries for it by the process of Bhakti Yoga.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Ashwatthama is now brought to the camp by Arjuna with his friend Krishna and putting Ashwatthama before his wife Draupadi, who was already lamenting for his son. All right. Let's go to the next verse. So listen, even after. Okay, next verse we'll talk about Draupadi's compassion. Yeah. Okay, who wants to read? Ranjita Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. तथा अहरतं पशुवत् पाशबदम् अवान्मुखं कर्म जुगुप्सितेन निरीक्षया कृष्ण अपकृतं गुरुसुतं वामा स्वभाव कृपया नानमा च. Translation. Sri Sutta Goswami said, Draupadi then saw Asvathama, who was bound with ropes like an animal and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder. Due to her female nature and due to her being naturally good and well behaved, she showed him due respects as a Brahmana. Purport. Asvathama was condemned by the Lord himself and he was treated by Arjuna just like a culprit, not like the son of a Brahmin or teacher. But when he was brought before Srimati Draupadi, she, although grieved for the murder of her sons, and although the murderer was present before her, could not withdraw the due respect generally offered to a Brahmana or to the son of a Brahmin. This is due to her mild nature as a woman. Women as a class are no better than boys, and therefore they have no discriminatory power like that of a man. Ashwadhama proved himself to be an unworthy son of Dronacharya or a Brahmana, and for this reason he was condemned by the greatest authority, Lord Sri Krishna, and yet a mild woman could not withdraw her natural courtesy for a Brahmana. Even to date, in a Hindu family, a woman shows proper respect to the Brahmin caste, however fallen or heinous a Brahmin Bandhu may be. But the men have begun to protest against Brahmin Bandhus who are born in families of good Brahmanas, but by the action are less than Shudras. The specific word used in this shloka is Vama Swabhava, mild and gentle by nature. A good man or woman accepts anything very easily, but a man of average intelligence does not do so. But anyway, we should not give up our reason and discriminatory power just to be gentle. One must have good discriminatory power to judge a thing on its merit. We should not follow the mild nature of a woman and thereby accept that which is not genuine. Ashwadhama may be respected by a good natured woman, but that does not mean that he is as good as a genuine Brahmin.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. So this verse is talking about what the reaction of Draupadi after she sees Asvatthama, who was actually bound with rope like an animal and dragged and put before her. So Sutta Goswami says that due to her female nature and naturally she is good and well behaved, and in fact she showed respect as a Brahmana. So she gave full respect, treated this Brahma Bandhu Ashwatthama as a real Brahmana because he was the son of Dronacharya, who was their master, right? So this shows how compassionate nature. Not only that, she showed respect to this Brahmin. Oh, that was a mild nature. Prabhupada highlights in the purport, moreover, it's a women as a class are, have that mild nature they have. Lord Krishna had mild women, could not. Can you pull it little up, Prabhu? Purport? So women as a class know better than boys, and therefore they have no discriminatory power like that of a man. No, no, down, I'm saying. Pull it down. No, purport, Prabhu, purport. We are looking at the purport, yeah. Yeah, leave it there. So she was compassionate and showing respect. So it highlights that it was a mild nature of a woman, and Draupadi had that more. So women, as a class, know better than they're like a small boys, and they have no discriminatory power like that of a man. Even though Ashwatthama was a unworthy son of Dronacharya, his murderous act required to be condemned. But yet, being a mild woman, she could not withdraw her courtesy for a Brahmana. So she was very leniently approaching this Ashwatthama. Okay. So Prabhupada highlights the word like Vama Swabhava. Swabhava, nature. She was mild and gentle in nature. So a good man or a good woman, they agree for everything. They accept whatever happened. We take all the bad things, whatever others do on us. And so they do not have discriminatory power. So, but Prabhupada highlights that he says we should not be like that. One must have good discriminatory power to judge things based on merit. We should not follow the mild nature of a woman, thereby accept that which is not genuine. Ashwatthama may be respected, but does not mean he is a genuine Brahmana. That's what Prabhupada concludes. Okay. So this shows the character of Draupadi. Let's go to the next verse. Who's to read now? Anyone? Bhupesh Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. उवाच चासन्त्य अस्य बन्धनान्यनं सति मुच्यतामेष ब्राह्मणो नितरां गुरुः. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. She could not tolerate Ashwathama's being bound by ropes, and being a devoted lady, she said, release him, for he is a Brahman, our spiritual master.
Okay, start from the second paragraph. Purport.
But Arjuna arrested Asvathama, knowing perfectly well that he was the son of Dronarcharya. Krishna also knew him to be so, but both of them condemned the murderer without consideration of the being the son of Brahmana. According to revealed scriptures, a teacher or spiritual master is liable to be rejected if he proves himself unworthy of the position of a guru or spiritual master. A guru is called also an acharya, or a person who has personally assimilated all the essence of Shastras and has helped his disciples to adopt the ways. Ashwathama failed to discharge the duties of a Brahmana or teacher, and therefore he was liable to be rejected from the exalted position of Brahmana. On this consideration, both Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna were right in the condemning Asvathama, but to a good lady like Draupadi, the matter was considered not from the angle of Shastric vision, but as a matter of custom. By custom, Ashwathama was offered the same respect as offered to his father. It was so because generally the people accept the son of Brahman as a Brahman by sentiment only. Factually, the matter is different. A Brahman is accepted on the merit of qualification and not on the merit of simply being the son of Brahman. But in spite of all this, Draupadi desired that Ashwathama be at once released, and it was all the same a good sentiment for her. This means that a devotee of a Lord can tolerate all sorts of tribulation personally, but still such devotees are never unkind to others, even to the enemy. These are the characteristics of the one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So yeah. So this is one of the reasons now Draupadi gives us a reason why this he should not be punished. So the reason here he's saying release him. He is a Brahmana. He is a spiritual master. So she thinks she puts Ashwatthama in the shoes of Dronacharya. So he says, release him, release him. He is a spiritual master. Even Ashwatthama is not the real spiritual master, right? Dronacharya was their master, but she treats him as though he as Dronacharya there, even though he's the son of Dronacharya. All right. So this is one of the reasons she says, release him. So more of a sentimental aspect for the lineage, he is coming from. And she feels that's the, dharmic way to release him. But actually the matter was considered not from the angle of Shastric vision. It was more from the matter of tradition or customs. That's what Prabhupada highlights in his purport. All right. Okay, let's go to the next verse. Vinay Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sarahasyo dhanurveda savi sargopan asamyamaha astragramascha bhavata siksito yad anugrahat. Translation. It was by Dronacharya's mercy that you learned the military art of throwing arrows and the confidential art of controlling the weapons. Purport. Dhanur Veda or military science was taught by Dronacharya with all its confidential secrets of throwing and controlling by Vedic hymns. Gross military science is dependent on material weapon, but finer than that is the art of throwing the arrow saturated with the Vedic hymns, which acts more effectively than gross material weapons like machine guns or atomic bomb. The control is by Vedic mantras or the transcendental science of sound. It is said in the Ramayana, the Maharaja Dashrata, the father of Lord Krishna, used to control arrows by sound only. He could pierce his target with his arrow by only hearing the sound without seeing the object. So this is a finer military science than that of the gross material military weapons used nowadays. Now Arjuna was taught all this, and therefore Draupadi wished that Arjuna feel obliged to Acharya Drona for all his benefits, and in the absence of Dronacharya, his son was his representative. And that was the opinion of a good lady Draupadi. It may be argued why Dronacharya, a rigid Brahmana, should be a teacher or in military science. But the reply is that Brahmana should become a teacher regardless of what his department of knowledge is. A learned Brahmana should become a teacher, priest, and a recipient of charity. A bona fide Brahmana is authorized to accept such professions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So this is the second reason. So Draupadi gives around 5 reasons, not to punish Ashwatthama. So first reason was she said he's a Brahmana, son of a spiritual master, and she considered himself a spiritual master. This verse is talking about, show mercy, that you learned the military art. So Dronacharya taught you all the military arts, all the Dhanurveda. So military science has been taught by Dronacharya. So you should show mercy to him. Let's go to the next verse. Radharaman Prabhu, you want to read? Or Nittikiti Mataji?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Today I am driving Prabhuji.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you.
Sa esha bhagavan drona prajarupena vartate tasyatmanodham palyaste nanavaga dvira sukriti. Translation by Srila Kripa, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He, Dronacharya, is certainly still existing, being represented by his son. His wife, Kripi, did not undergo a sati with him because she had a son. The wife of Dronacharya, Kripi, is the sister of Kripacharya, a devoted wife who is, according to revealed scripture, the better half of her husband, is justified in embracing voluntary death along with her husband if she is without issue. But in the case of the wife of Dronacharya, she did not undergo such a trial because she had her son, the representative of her husband. A widow is a widow only in name if there is a son of her husband existing. So in either case, Asvathama was the representative of Dronacharya, and therefore killing Asvathama would be like killing Dronacharya. That was the argument of Draupadi against the killing of Asvathama. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So now she is saying that not only, he is representing his father, now he has his mother, who is actually, generally those days when the husband dies, the women also enters into the fire, undergoes the sati process. But she did not undergo after Dronacharya left. So because she had her son. So he is representing Dronacharya. So his wife did not undergo sati with him because the son was there. So for that reason, you should not be punishing or killing him. Let's go to the next verse. Ankit Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Tad dharmagna mahabhaga bhavadbhir gauravam kulam vijanam narhati praptam पूज्यम वंद्यम अभिक्षण. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O most fortunate one who knows the principle of religion, it is not good for you to cause grief to glorious family members who are always respectable and worshipful. Purport: a slight insult for a respectable family is sufficient to invoke grief. Therefore, a cultured man should always be careful in dealing with worshipful family members. Hare Krishna.
You can do the next verse also, but we'll finish this.
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. So here she's trying to quote the principle of religion. No, go back, Prabhu. Let's discuss this verse. Yeah. So as per religion, so she's trying to glorify the lineage in which Dronacharya is there. If you kill Asvathama, the entire, it'll be a grief for their family members who are supposed to be worshipable, who are supposed to be respected because they're coming from a great lineage. If you see Kripi, she is coming from the Gautama Rishi lineage. So you should not suffer. Such a glorious family lineage they have, they should not be suffering by you punishing or killing Asvathama. All right, next verse. So these are all the reasons what Draupadi is putting arguments not to kill Asvathama. 47. Yeah, continue,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, Prabhu. Ma rodit asya janani Gautami pati devata yathaham mrita vatshata rodimi ashru mukhi muha. Translation: My lord, do not make the wife of Dronacharya cry like me. I am aggrieved for the death of my sons. She need not cry constantly like me. Purport: Sympathetic, good lady as she was, Srimati Draupadi did not want to put the wife of Dronacharya in the same position of childlessness, both from the point of motherly feelings and from the respectable position held by the wife of Dronacharya. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, now she is comparing, herself in the position of Kripi. So she is always, Draupadi is wailing, crying of their children passing away, and that she does not want to put Kripi also in the same position like her. Cry if you kill her son. Now she is also going to be like me, crying. So that's the compassionate how a devotee has. That's what highlights here. Is very sympathetic in nature is shown. All right, let's go to the next verse. 48. Who is there? Jayadharma Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yai brahmakulam rajanyair ajitatmabihi tatkulam pradati ashuhu sanubandham shucharpitam. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. If the kingly administrative order, being unrestricted in sense control, offends the Brahmana order and enrages them, then the fire of that rage burns up the whole body of the royal family and brings grief upon them all. Purport: The Brahmana order of society or the spiritually advanced caste or community and the members of such highly elevated families were always held in great esteem by the order, subordinate caste, namely the administrative kingly order, the mercantile order, and the laborer.
Okay. Now, previously, the four verses, she is trying to highlight, why you should not kill him. Some reasons like he is the son of a spiritual master, he is a Brahmana, his mother, if you kill him, she will be wailing, sympathy, all these reasons she is giving. Now, she is trying to caution Arjuna. She's saying that if you kill him, so it'll become a curse to our family. Like, no, if an administrative order, for our sense control, offend a Brahmana's order, engaged him, then the fire of the rage burns the body of the royal family. So it's going to bring grief not only to their family, it will also bring grief to our family also. That's what Draupadi mentioning to Arjuna. Let's go to the next verse.
Can I continue, Prabhu?
Yes, bro.
Suta uvacha dharmam nyayam sakarunam nirvyaklikam samam mahat raja dharmo sutarajnyaha pratyanadad vacho dvijaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Suta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, King Yudhisthira fully supported the statements of the queen, which were in accordance with the principles of religion and were justified, glorious, full of mercy and equity, and without duplicity. Purport. Maharaja Yudhisthira, who was the son of Dharmaraja or Yamaraja, fully supported the words of Queen Draupadi in asking Arjuna to release Asvatthama. One should not tolerate the humiliation of a member of a great family. Arjuna and his family were indebted to the family of Dronacharya because of Arjuna's learning the military science from him. If ingratitude were shown to such a benevolent family, it would not be at all justified from the moral standpoint. The wife of Dronacharya, who was the half body of the great soul, must be treated with compassion, and she should not be put into grief because of her son's death. That is the compassion. Such statements by Draupadi are without duplicity, because action should be taken with full knowledge. The feeling of equality was there because Draupadi spoke out of her personal experience. A barren woman cannot understand the grief of a mother. Draupadi was herself a mother, and therefore her calculation of the depth of Krupi's grief was quite to the point. And it was glorious because she wanted to show proper respect to a great family. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Hare Krishna. Now Sutta Goswami is saying what after Draupadi's arguments not to kill Ashwatthama, now Yudhishthira Maharaj speaks. Now he says he fully supports the statement of Draupadi. So he says according to the dharmyam, according to the religious principles, according to justice, according to glories of the family, showing full mercy, without duplicity and equality, she's supporting what the statements of Draupadi. Let's see what are the other brothers saying. Let's go to the next verse. Yes, Prabhu, Ankit Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have one question here. So, is this chapter not against the premise of Bhagavad Gita? Because Pandavas or Arjuna and Yudhishthira, everyone, they killed Dronacharya himself because he was fighting against them. But then, when Ashvathama killed all their sons, then they are thinking about the dharma. I
Can we
mean,
keep the question then, Prabhu?
yeah,
That
sure,
okay?
Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Or else it will go in loops. Let's finish this. Right. Who wants to read? Bhupesh Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
I don't know. I'm coming to the same persons. I don't know if anyone else want to read. Just put up your hand because others are not on the video. So I suppose you are doing multiple tasking.
Yeah, that's okay, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Nakulah Sadevascha Yuyudhano Dhananjaya Bhagavan Devaki Putro Ye Chanya Yashacha Yoshitaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nakula and Sadev, the younger brothers of the king, and also Satyaki, Arjuna, the personality of Godhead Lord Shri Krishna, son of Devaki, and the ladies and others all unanimously agreed with the king.
Yeah. So what are the others? All the brothers, Satyaki, Arjuna, even Krishna is mentioned here. And all the ladies who were also there, all agreed with what Yudhishthir said, all supporting what Draupadi said. Let's go to the next one. You can continue one more verse.
Prabhuji, who is Satyaki?
Satyaki is another prince. He is a friend of Arjuna and Krishna. He was a prince coming in the Vrishni family. So his another name is also there. Yuyudhana. Have you heard? Yuyudhana. In Bhagavad Gita also it comes. If you see in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Duryodhana addresses Yuyudhana. So he is from the Pandavas side.
Can I continue?
Yeah, I'm just trying to refer the verse so that you can. Yeah, yes, Prabhu, you can carry on. Read the verse.
Text 51. Tatra hamarshito bhimas tasya shreyan vadha smritaha na bhartur natmanascharthe yo ahan suptanchishunritha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhima, however, angrily disagreed with them and recommended killing this culprit who had murdered sleeping children for no purpose and for neither his nor his master's interest. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So everyone agreed not to punish this. Even Krishna, who said earlier, you have to kill him, but he also agreed to what the Dharmaraj said. But Bhima did not recommend it. He was very angry. So he recommended killing of this culprit who had murdered the sleeping children, who were innocent there without any reason. He did it. All right, let's go to the next verse. Vinay Prabhu, you can read the next verse. Meanwhile, Mataji, it is verse number 1.4 of Bhagavad Gita is that Yudhisthira is mentioned. He is mentioned as a great fighter, warrior, just for your information. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Nisamya Bhima Gaditam Draupadascha Chaturbhuja Alokya Vadanam Shakyur Idam Aha Hasanam Iva. Translation: Chaturbhuja, the four-armed one, or the personality of Godhead, after hearing the words of Bhima, Draupadi, and others, saw the face of his dear friend Arjuna, and he began to speak as if smiling. Lord Sri Krishna had two arms, and why he is designated as four-armed is explained by Sridhara Swami. Both Bhima and Draupadi held opposite views about killing Asvathama. Bhima wanted him to be immediately killed, whereas Draupadi wanted to save him. We can imagine Bhima ready to kill while Draupadi is obstructing him, and in order to prevent both of them, the Lord discovered another two arms. Originally, the primeval Lord Sri Krishna displays only two arms, but in his Narayana features, he exhibits four. In his Narayana feature, he resides with his devotees in the Vaikuntha planets, while in his original Sri Krishna features, he resides in the Krishna Loka planet far, far above the Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky. Therefore, if Sri Krishna is called Chaturbhuja, there is no contradiction. If need be, he can display hundreds of arms, and he exhibited in his Vishwarupa shown to Arjuna. Therefore, one who can display hundreds and thousands of arms can also manifest four whenever needed. When Arjuna was perplexed about what to do with Asvathama, Lord Krishna, as a very dear friend of Arjuna, volunteered to up the matter just to make a solution, and he was smiling also. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So yeah, so there is no contradiction happening, that becoming two parties within the Pandavas, like one with under Draupadi, supported by the king Yudhisthira and all his brothers, and the other side is Bhima. Now this verse exhibits Krishna's response. Now Krishna comes out with four arms. That's what he's saying, Chaturbhuja form. So Prabhupada highlights in the purport or highlights what Sridhar Swami says. So he's using this two hands for holding the both the parties, two parties, because always Bhima is ready to kill. Imagine Bhima is ready to kill while Draupadi is trying to obstruct. So it's like a small uh, trifle is happening over here between the family members, and Krishna is trying to mediate that. Okay, let's see what Arjuna is going to do in the next
So why,
verse.
why is Krishna, he's saying he's smiling also after he took at the last line?
Because this argument is going, one set of people within the family mentioned that you have to punish another set of people, you should release him. So he's smiling to see what is the real, justification, what is the real dharmic uh, principle they are going to adopt. So he's actually, as he said, he's trying to test people, in crisis situation, how they are balancing. So this is a very important lesson even for us, in crisis situation, mentally we may become emotional. We may take some different decisions, each person depending on the situation.
Yeah.
But how are you properly using, a proper justifying, solution for such a situation? Because this is killing of a person is not a very small decision to be taken, right? Why he is to be killed? Because he is an aggressor. He had did an erroneous act, and it is also an emotional. Even their children, the death child, their body is still there, right? So
Yeah.
in such a situation, especially we see even in our situations, in many houses we can see even if there is a death in the house, immediately first thing they blame is the God, right? So why this situation I am putting into, why I am suffering, all these things. So here, if you see here is a situation, we have the culprit also here. So one set of people saying not to punish, another set of people saying you should be punished. So Krishna is saying what is the conclusion going to happen here?
Okay.
All right, okay. Let's go to the next verse. Ankit Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Shri Bhagwan Vacha Brahma Bandhuna हन्तव्य आततायी वधाहरण मयो भो भो भय मान्मतं अनुशासनम कुरु प्रतिश्रुतं सत्यं यत् यत् सान्वत्या प्रियं प्रियं च भीमसेनस्य पाञ्चल्य महावेव च महायम एव च Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead Sri Krishna said, a friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but if he is an aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are in the scriptures and you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife and you must also act to the satisfaction of Bhimsen and me. Purport: Arjuna was perplexed because Asvathama was to be killed as well as spared according to different scriptures cited by different persons. As a Brahma Bandhu or a worthless son of a Brahmana, Asvathama was not to be killed, but he was at the same time an aggressor also. And according to the rulings of Manu, an aggressor, even though he be Brahmana, and what to speak of an unworthy son of a Brahmana, is to be killed. Dronacharya was certainly a Brahmana in the true sense of the term, but because he stood in the battlefield, he was killed. But although Ashwathama was an aggressor, he stood without any fighting weapons. The ruling is that an aggressor, when he is without weapon or chariot, cannot be killed. All these were certainly perplexities. Beside that, Arjuna had to keep the promise he had made before Draupadi just to pacify her, and also he had to satisfy both Bhima and Krishna, who advised killing him. This dilemma was present before Arjuna, and the solution was awarded by Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So yeah, it's a continuation. After smiling, he's saying, no, this is the thing which I already mentioned. Now he's asking Arjuna, you have to now decide based on the rulings of scriptures. So scriptures are giving different versions. Now one like a aggressor should not be killed, whereas a Brahmana, no, aggressor should be killed, I think there is some voice coming back. But a Brahmana shouldn't be killed, right? So what Arjuna is going to do? And now Prabhupada also highlights that, even though he was an aggressor, now he is standing without weapon. Now he is, arrested, tied. So now he is not with any weapon to do further aggressive activities. So what are you going to do? So what punishment are you going to award? So you have to fulfill your promise, what he made a promise to Draupadi, and she is supporting not to take any punishment to this person, whereas Bhimsena says he should be killed. So the dilemma was present before Arjuna, and the solution, roughly a solution Krishna is trying to give to him. So now you decide. Let's go to the next verse. Ranjita Mataji, you want to read?
Sutta Uvacha Arjuna Sahasrajnya Harirhardam Athasana Manim Jara Murdayanam Dvijashya Sahas Murdhajam. Translation: Sutta Goswami said, just then Arjuna could understand the motive of the Lord by his equivocal orders, and thus with his sword he severed both hair and jewel from the head of Asvathama. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Contradictory orders of different persons are impossible to carry out. Therefore, a compromise was selected by Arjuna by his sharp intelligence, and he separated the jewel from the head of Asvathama. This was as good as cutting off his head, and yet his life was saved for all practical purposes. Here, Asvathama is indicated as twice born. Certainly, he was twice born, but he fell down from his position, and therefore he was properly punished.
Hare
Hare
Krishna. Thank
Krishna.
you, Mother. So here, Sutta Goswami is saying that Arjuna has got the tips from Krishna. Krishna says he should be punished, equal to a death. He should be nearly killed, but not really killed. So that's the way Arjuna now, what did he do? He severed the crown of Ashwatthama and his hair. So this punishment is equal to actually killing a death of really he's really a kind of a great warrior and a leader, Ashwatthama. So once his crown and his hair is gone, head is shaved, so he's equivalent to all his his ego, like it is equivalent to killing. Physically he's not dead, but his position, everything is now gone. So it's good as cutting off his head. So practically he killed him, not physically, but in his from his ego and from his position, he was totally put down. Let's go to the next verse. Bhupesh Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Vimuchya rashana baddham balhatyahat prabham tejasa manina hinam shibran niraya payat. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. He, Asvathama, had already lost his bodily luster due to the infanticide, and now, moreover, having lost the jewel from his head, he lost even more strength. Thus he was unbound and driven out of the camp. But thus being insulted, the humiliated Ashwathama was simultaneously killed, and not killed by the intelligence of Lord Krishna and Arjuna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So Prabhupada, Sutta Goswami mentioned, now Ashwatthama lost all his body luster and moreover lost his jewel from his head and even more strength. So he was driven out of this camp. Now he was sent out of that camp. So this insult and humiliation for Asvathama was simultaneously, it was equivalent to killing him, but really not physically killing him. So this was the way, the intelligence of Krishna and Arjuna, they gave this punishment to him. All right, let's go to the next verse.
Can I continue?
Yes, bro. Couple of more verses you can finish off if you want.
Yes, Prabhu. Vapnam dravina danam sthanan nirayapanam tatha esha hi brahma bandhunam vadho nanyosti dehikaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Cutting the hair from his head, depriving him of his wealth, and depriving him from his residence are the prescribed punishments for the relative of a Brahman. There is no injunction for killing the body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. The same thing, it's highlighting cutting off his hair from his head, depriving of his, wealth, and driving him away from his house are the prescribed punishment for a Brahma Bandhu. There is no actual injection for killing this body. So this is one of the lesson we can learn. All right, next go to the last verse.
Putra shoka tura sarve Pandavas Krishnaya Swanamritanam yat krityam chakrunirharnadikam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thereafter, the sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper rituals for the dead bodies of their relatives. Purport. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled "The Sons of Drona, the Son of Drona Punished."
Yeah.
Hare
So after punishing Asvatthama, Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu, then the sons of Pandus, all the Pandavas, Draupadi, grieving for the death of their children, perform the proper rites for the dead bodies along with the relatives. So with this chapter ends. We'll go to the next chapter. Before that, Ankit Prabhu, your question, maybe if it is a short, we can just take that because we are going to
Yeah,
the
it
next
is
one.
answered, Prabhu. I
It is
think,
answered, yeah.
yeah, because
That's why I said,
Dronacharya was armed and he was unarmed, and he was in the battlefield.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So actually, Dronacharya, what happened was when he heard that his son is being killed, he put his bow down and
Yes.
yeah.
Then
And it is
Draupadi.
actually said some places it is mentioned that Dronacharya, because of his mystic, he is a great yogi. He left his the soul left his body before actually his head was cut by
Yeah,
Drishtadyumna.
yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next chapter. Next chapter is titled "The Prayers by Queen Kunti." All right. Where do I start with? Nitikati Mataji, you can start with this.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Suta uvacha अथ ते सम्परेतानां स्वानामुत्कमिच्छतां दातुं स कृष्णगन्मन्यां पुरस्कृत्य ययुस्त्रिया. Purport by Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Suta Goswami said, thereafter the Pandavas, desiring to deliver water to the dead relatives who had desired it, went to the Ganges with Draupadi. The ladies walked in front. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. To date, it is the custom in Hindu society to go to the Ganges or any other sacred river to take bath when death occurs in the family. Each of the family members pours out a potful of the Ganges water for the departed soul and walks in a procession with the ladies in the front. The Pandavas also followed the rules more than 5,000 years ago. Lord Krishna, being a cousin of the Pandavas, was also amongst the family members. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so very quickly, this chapter overview, we can see this, we can divide this chapter into four parts. One is first four verses talks about the grief and lamentation of the family, the Pandavas family, because of the death of the, not only death of these five children, so many people died in the war. Now that the war has ended, right? So many people died. So the lamentation, pacification. So the Krishna and the sages pacify the Pandavas. So that's first four. And then from the 5th to 17th verse talks about Krishna was about to leave for Dwaraka, and that time Uttara comes saying that then there's another Brahmastra coming and trying to attack my womb. There's a child, Parikshit, who's sitting in the womb. His Asvathama has released another Brahmastra. So she does a prayer. So in this chapter, there are two prayers. One is Uttara's prayer, and then Kunti Shruti. So that part finishes, and then Kunti Devi gives a prayer. So 18 to 44 verses, Kunti is very popular, very famous. Shruti is there. His offer prayer when Krishna has to leave for Dwaraka. Then when he is about to leave again, Yudhisthira Maharaj becomes very lamented. Oh, Krishna, you shouldn't be leaving. You should be with us. So this section describes these things. The fourth section, one is lamentation and pacification of Pandavas by Krishna and the sages. Then Krishna is called in when he is leaving, called in to protect Uttara or Parikshit in the womb. And then Kunti Devi seeing all these things, offering prayers to Krishna before he's leaving. But then Yudhishthira Maharaj stops him. He says, you can't be leaving us like this. So let's quickly see this verse. So this verse is talking about, after the Pandavas, trying to, they're going to Ganges with the ladies walking in the front and then pouring pot full of water for the departed soul. And also they were also cleaning, purifying themselves with the water. So this kind of religious customs happened even 5,000 years ago. But I'm not sure how many of you know this. I mean, I don't know. Generally, any cremation or funeral rites, I have not seen women going, but it is said here 5,000 years ago that the women walked before. The ladies were leading
It
the
is
procession.
only about taking holy bath, na? They are not going for the cremation. After the cremation is already done, after that
Hmm.
they are taking the holy bath. So the bath is anyways taken by the ladies also, even now.
Hmm.
They take it at home now and then they sprinkle the Ganges water.
Okay. So you're saying this is after the funeral.
Yeah, after the funeral. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So, Prabhu, I
This is
had
as per my understanding, huh?
Yeah. No, that's why I'm asking anyone. Yes, Ankit Prabhu, you want to add something?
no, Prabhu, I was asking something else. So,
Something else. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Jai Dharma Prabhu, you want to say something or want to read the verse
No,
next
I
verse?
just thought of, yeah, I'll read the next in case it's.
Yes, Prabhu.
तेनि नियोदकं सर्वे विलप्य च भृशं पुनः आप्लुता हरिपादाब्जा राजा पूता शरीजले. Having lamented over them and sufficiently offered Ganges water, they bathed in Ganges, whose water is sanctified due to being mixed with the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah. You can do the next one also, bro.
Sure. तत्रासीनं कुरुपतिं धृतराष्ट्रं सहानुजम् गान्धारीं पुत्रशोकार्तं पृथं कृष्णां च माधवः. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There sat the king of the Kurus, Maharaja Yudhisthira, along with his younger brothers and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, Kunti, and Draupadi, all overwhelmed with grief. Lord Krishna was also there. Purport. The battle of Kurukshetra was fought between the family members, and thus all affected persons were also family members like Maharaja Yudhisthira and brothers Kunti, Draupadi, Subhadra, and Dhritarashtra, Gandhari and her daughter-in-laws, etc. All the principal dead bodies were in some way or the other related with each other, and therefore the family grief was combined. Lord Krishna was also one of them as a cousin of the Pandavas and the nephew of Kunti, as well as a brother of Subhadra. The Lord therefore was equally sympathetic towards all of them, and therefore he began to pacify them befittingly. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Krishna is pacifying, and this was going to talk about all the sages are also pacifying. Yeah, we can go to the next one. Soumya Mataji, is there a question or you want to read?
I can read Prabhuji.
Yeah, please.
सान्तव्यामास मुनिभिर्हतबन्धुज्ञ श्रुता श्रुचार्पितान् भूतेषु कालस्य गतिं दर्शयन् न प्रतिक्रियाम्. Citing the stringent laws of the Almighty and their reactions upon living beings, Lord Sri Krishna and the Munis began to pacify those who were shocked and affected. Purport. Hare Krishna. The stringent laws of nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be altered by any living entity. The living entities are eternally under the subjugation of the Almighty Lord. The Lord makes all the laws and orders, and these laws and orders are generally called dharma or religion. No one can create any religious formula. Bona fide religion is to abide by the orders of the Lord. The Lord's orders are clearly declared in the Bhagavad Gita. Everyone should follow him only or his orders, and that will make all happy, both materially and spiritually. As long as we are in the material world, our duty is to follow the orders of the Lord. And if by the grace of the Lord we are liberated from the clutches of the material world, then in our liberated stage also we can render transcendental loving service unto the Lord. In our material stage, we can see neither ourselves nor the Lord for want of spiritual vision. But when we are liberated from material affection and are situated in our original spiritual form, we can see both ourselves and the Lord face to face. Mukti means to be reinstated in one's original spiritual status after giving up the material conception of life. Therefore, human life is specifically meant for qualifying ourselves for this spiritual liberty. Unfortunately, under the influence of illusory material energy, we accept this spot life of only a few years as our permanent existence and thus become illusioned by possessing so called country, home, land, children, wife, community, wealth, etc., which are false representations created by Maya illusion. And under the dictation of Maya, we fight with one another to protect these false possessions. By cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can realize that we have nothing to do with all this material paraphernalia. Then at once we become free from material attachment. This clearance of the misgivings of material existence at once takes place by association with the Lord's devotees, who are able to inject the transcendental sound into the depths of the bewildered heart and thus make one practically liberated from all lamentation and illusion. That is a summary of the pacifying measures for those affected by the reaction of stringent material laws exhibited in the forms of birth, death, old age, and disease, which are insoluble factors of material existence. The victims of war, namely the family members of the Kurus, were lamenting the problems of death, and the Lord pacified them on the basis of knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, quite a big purport. So as I said, the first four verses talking about the lamentation of the Pandavas, the family members, the Guru dynasty as such. In fact, it's highlighting Gandhari was also there, Dhritarashtra is there. So here Krishna and the messages or the munis are trying to pacify this family. So they're citing the stringent law of nature, the stringent law of Almighty, and the reaction upon them. And Prabhupada highlights in the purport how the time is the most powerful force in this, how it is impacting every living entities, how we are under the illusory power, so the so-called country, land, home, children, wife, community, and etc. So just by, we are under the illusion of Maya. So just by cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can realize that we have nothing to do with this material paraphernalia. So very important point is this clearance of misgivings of material existence takes place only by association of Lord's devotees who are able to get this transcendental sound of depth. Right. So when we would have all studied about Bhagavad Gita also, this one of the first classes of Bhagavad Gita or bhakti vrikshas. We understand, we are not the body, we are the soul. So that understanding itself, it could have changed the paradigm shift within us, how we look at the world, outside the world, how we look others, right? So Prabhupada highlight that the summary of the pacifying measures of those affected by the reaction of stringent law is exhibited in form of birth, death, old age, and disease, which is insoluble factor of material existence. Right. So anyone wants to add anything on this? So the lesson is, we don't enter into an emotional situation, especially in a heavy situation like this. Even strong people can get overwhelmed. If you see the Pandavas family, they were all dharmic, they were very strong Kshatriyas. Even they were shocked and affected by so many death in the family. So Prabhupada also highlights, unless, therefore, the devotees together, the Sankirtan, that brings up the spirit. It brings up the emotions in people when such losses happen, when people suffer such losses. So association is very important, devotee association. All right, let's go to the 5th verse. Yes, Raman Prabhu, you're come. I think you're back.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Can I read
Hare
out?
Krishna. Yeah.
साधित्वा ज्ञातशत्रु स्वयं राज्यं कितवत्वदं धात घातयित्वात्सु राज्ञ कचस्पर्श सताशु. Translation by Sri Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhisthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was expected, and the unscrupulous kings who joined the Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died. Their duration of life have decreased for their rough handling of the heir of King Draupadi. In the glories proper by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. But in the glorious days or before the advent of the age of Kali, the Brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, and the old men were properly given protection. The protection of the Brahmanas maintained the institution of Varna and Ashrama, the most scientific, scientific culture of attainment of spiritual life. The production of cow maintained the most miraculous form of food, milk for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain, for understanding higher aims of life. The protection of woman maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get a good gen- generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. The production of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Guru Garbhadana Sanskara, the beginning of pure life. Number 5, the protection of the old men gives them a chance to prepare themselves for better life after that. This complete outlook is based on factor leading to successful humanity against the civilization of polished cat and dogs. The killing of the above mentioned innocent creatures is totally forbidden because even by insulting them, one loses one duration of life. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life the present generation has shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that when the women become unchaste for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called Varna Sanskara. To insult a chaste woman means to bring out digest disaster in the duration of life. Dushasana, a brother of Drona, insulted Draupadi, an idle chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. There are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So yeah, this is the next section after the classification of the Pandava family. Now it's talking about, what the war has now ended. Now King Yudhishthira is now becoming the king. Yudhishthira is said to have no enemies. There is one term for that. Ajata Shatru. So he has actually no enemies. But then Duryodhana wanted the kingdom, so he cunningly, we all know how cunningly they took away, what is the right kingdom for the Pandavas. And now this is now recovered back by the grace of the Lord after the Kurukshetra war, and now it's again given back to Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? So in that process, what happened? So many people died, including all the 100 brothers of Duryodhana, and basically, it's highlighted that because of the rough handling, it's all lead to the rough handling of the Queen Draupadi. How they pull the hair. So Prabhupada in the purport talks about, the situation before Kali, how the Brahmanas, cow, women, children, old men, how protection were given to them, how protection were given as per the Varnashra Dharma. But as the Kali Yuga goes, you can see how the cows are treated, how the Brahmanas are treated. But today there's no really literary a Brahmana there. And then how women are treated, how children are put into, and you see how old men, are treated in this Kali Yuga. So Brahmanas are meant to be there, to preserve the Varnashra Dharma. And the cows, the milk from the cow, helps to nourish the brain and for spiritual understanding. Killing of cow. The women should be for maintaining the social purity, and for future generation. So, but the unchastity is coming there, and because of that, we have the Varana Shankara, unwanted progenies are created. And previously, children were given a chance, for spiritual life right from the birth. And old men were preparing for, sannyasi and for their death. But nothing like that is happening properly now, and no protection to all of these categories. All right, next go to the next verse. Who wants to read? Yeah.
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. I was about to come to you.
Yeah. Yaj yitvashmet मेधास्तमं त्रिभिरुत्तमाकल्पकः तद्यशः पावनं दिक्षु सता मन्योरिवातनोत्. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Shri Krishna caused 3 well-performed Ashwamedha Yagna horse sacrifices to be conducted by the Maharaj Yudhisthira, and thus caused his virtuous fame to be glorified in all directions, like that of Indra, who had performed 100 such sacrifices. Purport. There is something like the preface to the performance of Ashwamedha Yagna by Maharaj Yudhisthira. The comparison of Maharaj Yudhisthira to the King of Heaven is significant. The King of Heaven is thousands and thousands of times greater than Maharaj Yudhisthira in opulence. Yet the fame of Maharaj Yudhisthira was not less. The reason is that Maharaj Yudhisthira was a pure devotee of the Lord, and by his grace only was King Yudhisthira on the level of the King of Heaven, even though he performed only 3 yagnas, whereas the King of Heaven performs hundreds. This is the prerogative of the devotee of the Lord. The Lord is equal to everyone, but a devotee of the Lord is more glorified because he is always in touch with all great. The sun rays are equally distributed, but still there are some places which are always dark. This is not due to the sun but to the receptive power. Similarly, those who are 100% devotees of the Lord get the full-fledged mercy of the Lord, which is always equally distributed everywhere. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, to cut short, I mean, now Yudhishthira Maharaj is becoming the king, and then Krishna is arranging, for him to perform some yajnas, Ashwamedha yajnas. In fact, it is three yajnas he's conducting. And with this, he's famous. Maharaja Yudhishthira is becoming famous in all direction. Even the demigods are now seeing him, of his popularity. So, so it's only showing that how the kingdom is thriving. Yeah. Let's go to the next one. At least another couple of verses we can finish. Vinay Prabhu, you want to read?
Hare Krishna. Amantraya Pandu Putram Sha Sainyodava Samyutaha Dvaipayanabhir Vipraya Pujitaya Prati Pujita. Translation. Lord Sri Krishna then prepared for his departure. He invited the sons of Pandu, after having been worshipped by the Brahmanas, headed by Srila Vyasadeva. The Lord was also reciprocated greetings. Purport. Apparently, Lord Sri Krishna was a Kshatriya and was not worshipable by the Brahmanas, but the Brahmanas present there, headed by Srila Vyasadeva, all knew him to be personality of Godhead and therefore they worshipped him. The Lord reciprocated the greeting just to honor the social order. The Kshatriya is obedient to the orders of the Brahmanas. Although Lord Krishna was always offered this respect due to the Supreme Lord from all responsible quarters. The Lord never deviated from the customary usage between the four orders of society. The Lord purposely observed all these social customs so that others would follow him in the future.
All right. So yeah, now it's saying that Krishna is now about to depart. Let's go to the next verse. Depart from Hastinapur. He wants to go to Dwarka. Bhupesh Prabhu or Jay Dharma Prabhu.
Sure,
It's
Prabhu. Yeah, you can read, Prabhu.
Yeah, Bhupesh Prabhu. Yeah.
text state Gantum kritam tir brahman dwarakam ratham astitah apalabhe abhi